Coming up, Disney announces Soarin is receiving a brand new, very patriotic film in honor of America's upcoming semi-quincentennial. We take a look at why Remy's Ratatouille adventure is going 2D, and what's changed at Spaceship Earth following its 2-month refurbishment. All that and more on the way. This is Mickey Views News.
All who come to this happy place, welcome.
Now I'm the king of the swingers.
That's what EPCOT is, an experimental prototype community that will always be in a state of becoming.
First up in the news today, we have some very exciting Sam Eagle-approved news as Disney is starting to announce their plans for the parks during America's 250th birthday, which should make for a very fun summer next year. Particularly where Walt Disney World's concerned, Disney's looking to make a promotion out of it. We've noticed an attendance trend in recent years where the parks feel unusually busy much of the start of the year and parts of the holiday season, especially during fall break, for example, and of course Thanksgiving and Christmas. But the summer, which used to seem consistently packed, just doesn't feel quite the same the last couple of years. And there is some data to back this up. If you take a look at the wait times year to year, the average waits during the summer, they just seem to get lower and lower. And the discounts during that time period just keep getting better and better during the summer months. One cause might be locals keeping cool and avoiding attending the parks during the months like August, or just going less frequently, where often in August it feels like the surface of the sun in Central Florida. The 4th of July, though, Labor Day as well, you'd expect a lot of day ticket guests to attend on those holidays, but in recent years, that has not really been too much of the case. I wonder if these days so many guests are gaming out when's the best time to go, that a bit of reverse psychology works now, where you can just attend when you know everyone else thinks it's going to be too busy, when everyone else is avoiding going. Whatever the case may be, Disney's looking to attract guests to the parks next summer for the nation's 250th birthday. And to that end, Soarin' Around the World, the Soarin' film that debuted in 2016 in EPCOT and Disney California Adventure, will be replaced next summer with a new airborne adventure flying over the United States. Soarin' Across America will premiere at Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort summer 2026. Here's the attraction poster for the experience, which Disney says will showcase the splendor of America from sea to shining sea, highlighting some of the country's natural beauty and iconic cityscapes. The way we found out this exciting news is also noteworthy. Patrick Warburton reprised his role as chief flight attendant to announce on Disney social media channels that Soarin' passengers will soon fly over America. Disney then released more details on the production of the film, which may already be well into production or even some post-production. We really aren't sure. There's lots of footage that it seems like they've already started to gather. Imagineers first had to map out what they wanted to showcase, which would work well with the format. Lots of thought went into how to do the camera path across each location and how that would blend into the next part of the montage, the transition. Imagineer Tom Fitzgerald says their goal is to offer guests a sample of America's beauty and urban wonders, painting an emotional portrait for the nation's semi-quincentennial. What locations they chose, we still don't know for certain just yet. I'm sure many of you are thinking back to the legendary original film, Soarin' Over California, which itself showed off a lot of awesome American locations, and that film occasionally shows for a limited time at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World's Soarin' theaters. One location that really stands out to me in the original as very American is the flyover of North Island in San Diego, right over the supercarrier as the fighter jets do a flyby. That was really, really cool. I think that one works really well because the aircraft, they really get the theater subwoofers moving. Also, don't forget Soarin' Around the World also includes some of America's natural beauty, notably with the hidden Mickey hot air balloon scene that takes place in Monument Valley. I'm really excited to see what American locales Imagineering chose for this film, which I'm sure we will find out more about prior to the film's premiere next summer. Next up in EPCOT news, over in the World Showcase, there are a couple of attraction updates on the way, very much in line with other quality of life improvements planned demand for existing attractions across Walt Disney World, which we also talked about last video the other day. Be sure to check that out. First, at Frozen Ever After inside the Norway Pavilion, the Frozen animatronics are set to receive some major upgrades. When Frozen Ever After debuted in 2016, many of the characters throughout the ride notably featured projected faces. Projection faces were a big trend at the time, partly for cost savings and partly due to space limitations inside the figures, where Disney is saying wires supporting the fluid arm movements limited how complex the faces could be in the animatronics that they were using at the time. And also at the time, the projection faces were considered to be high-tech. You could take the animated character's face and map it right onto an animatronic, and I recall that was a big deal at the time, but from certain angles, it's always looked a bit jarring. You've also got to keep everything lined up, everything calibrated. The projection lighting never quite matches the lighting of the rest of the character, so oftentimes it just looks a little bit odd. Well, say goodbye to the projection faces, because Disney has finally confirmed, after years of rumors on this, the Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff audio animatronics figures on the EPCOT attraction will receive dimensional faces, utilizing advancements Imagineering has made in recent years, fitting more servo motors and wires into smaller and smaller spaces, thanks to advancements in 3D printing and CNC machining. It appears what is happening here is that Walt Disney World, led by President Jeff Volley, actually saved up and set aside attraction upgrade funds, where Walt Disney World, that subsidiary, has saved up some discretionary refurbishment money and using those funds to in part purchase new versions of the very dynamic faces that are featured in the World of Frozen in Hong Kong Disneyland. Walt Disney World is buying those, another set of those, to install on the figures at the Frozen attraction that you have in EPCOT, which is a great investment by the Walt Disney World executives into something that won't see direct ROI, direct return on investment, but that improved quality across the park that impresses guests and keeps them coming back. And some that were saying, who could have seen this coming? This is so random, it's so out of the blue. Well, I told you guys in January 2024 that I heard Imagineering has been wanting to update the projection-only Frozen Ever After animatronic heads at EPCOT to Hong Kong Disneyland's practical style, but Walt Disney World's executives were saying, how does this bring in more money? Is this a good use of our money? What's the return on investment? Well, now it is official. Disney's really doing this, which means executives committed some money towards quality, towards good show for its own sake, and that is great to see. Let me know your thoughts on this. No time frame on the Frozen Ever After upgrades just yet, but it is officially in the works, which is some very, very exciting stuff there. The other attraction refurb in the World Showcase is not one that I expected at all. It's over at Remy's Ratatouille Adventure inside the France Pavilion, an attraction that feels to me like it just opened. Time just flies. Disney announced last month that Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in EPCOT would be going two-dimensional, 2D. Previously, when you were in the queue for the attraction, you might recall you'd pick up 3D glasses to view the projected ride sequences, the screen parts in 3D. The attraction went down for a very brief refurbishment in the middle of November, and now the 3D glasses are no more, and now the projected content during the attraction plays in just 2 dimensions. Is this a downgrade? Some guests are saying yes. Some guests are saying this change is actually good. It's improving their view during the ride. According to Disney, they say this change, which is also coming to the attraction in Disneyland Paris, is based upon guest feedback. There's some fan debate about this because one story that we have covered in the past on this channel is executives allegedly being stingy about ordering new 3D glasses, which of course are a special order item and at scale can cost a lot of money, especially the custom ones, because if you look at the ones over at the Flight of Passage at the Animal Kingdom in the World of Avatar over there, they utilize custom fabricated frames and perhaps some special films on there and complex assemblies. For a while, the 3D glasses on the Flight of Passage at the Animal Kingdom, they were in really rough shape. Guests kept complaining about blurry experiences on the ride, scratched lenses. We covered that story at the beginning of 2024, and since then, Disney has ordered and put into use many new batches of glasses, according to cast members at the attraction. Is Disney cutting out the 3D glasses over here at Remy's to save on costs? It could be. However, many guests are saying this is an upgrade to them because they thought the 3D didn't work well at Remy's, that the scenes were often blurry or hard to follow, and as a result, removing the glasses entirely made the whole attraction easier to follow and makes for a more pleasant view, especially when you're in the scenes that are practical, where you have all the giant food items around you and such. Now more of your periphery, you can see more in your periphery, so that may improve the experience there. And that's what Disney's saying too. To me, I'm a little suspect of this. I want to say that this is a budget cut, but what's weird is it is a little unlikely that this is an ops-based decision. They'd probably be the ones doing the budget cut here, not wanting to pay to replace the glasses and clean them and everything that goes into that. Because the thing is it's also happening at another park across the Atlantic Ocean at the exact same time. And they have their own operations team with their own goals and opinions over there. So this seems like something that came from higher up, or it was something that Paris did and Walt Disney World said, oh, this is a good idea. So maybe this really is about responding to guest feedback, as Disney is claiming here and in Paris. The 2D implementation is now complete, and reviews online are quite mixed. I've seen some scathing articles that say that the attraction is now worse than it was before, and some people are of the opinion that the attraction leaves a lot to be desired to begin with, and other people said that now it's a lot easier to see the scenes, especially the practical ones, or they don't have to worry about it interfering with their own glasses if they have prescriptions. Also, as part of this brief refurbishment that happened this month, Disney fixed the rotating wheels that you have when you're under the cart in that one scene. Those were broken for a very, very long time and are a really cool practical detail. So the fact that maintenance finally fixed that as part of this refurbishment is very, very good to see. And in the months to follow, Disney is also teasing the addition of some new props to the attraction and its queue. Disney's full statement reads, quote, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure will experience a short downtime on November 10th through 13th, 2025, and will return with enhanced digital visuals and clearer imagery projected in 2D. That's the part that has now happened that you can go check out right now. But Disney also adds, quote, Remy's fans will spot new props and lighting enhancements when they are added to the queue and attraction over the next few months, and that is the part that we have not yet seen. Last up in the news today at EPCOT, Spaceship Earth, which was closed much of the summer for refurbishment, finally reopened to guests last month, and since then, many Spaceship Earth fans have conducted round trips of the attraction, going around and around, trying to figure out what exactly changed over that 2 months of work. Heading into the refurbishment, it was rumored that the ride vehicles throughout the Spaceship Earth attraction, they would receive higher quality OLED screens with improved visual fidelity. The parts of the screen where the pixel is supposed to be black, they would actually be that color instead of a purple color, which is the case with the old screens with the global backlight that just lights up the entire LCD screen. Full transparency, I was one of the people that was suggesting that this screen upgrade would happen as part of this refurbishment. I heard so from several of our sources who are rock solid, but it ended up just not panning out. The attraction is back and the screens look exactly the same as before, and there's a few of them throughout the ride that actually have dead pixels still on them, so they likely didn't even refresh the existing screens with, old stock or whatever screen they're currently using on those. That doesn't mean that nothing has changed on the attraction, however. Starting outside of the attraction, the aluminum composite panels were refreshed all the way around the load and the post-show building, looking very, very nice and shiny there. I don't know if they replaced them or they just buffed up the current ones and cleaned them. Probably the latter, but whatever the case, they look really, really good. The blue parts of the marquee on either side of you as you approach the attraction, those got a full repaint as well. Spaceship Earth superfans also noticed a signage lighting effect on one of the two signs was restored, which hadn't been working for a very, very long time. Some fans also speculated that in the woolly mammoth scene, the projector has been upgraded. I just visited EPCOT for the first time in over a year, and I felt the projections did seem clearer there. Not too much brighter, I would say, but definitely sharper. My suspicion would be they did update the projector and they just kept it at a low lighting setting because that is supposed to be a very dark scene and sort of acclimate your eyes to the upcoming adventure. The part of this routine refurbishment I noticed the most and really appreciated were the animatronics. Many animatronics that were very jerky in their movements in the past, and many elements throughout the attraction that just stopped moving entirely a long time ago, like the the boat, for example. Most of those issues have been fixed. Stuff is moving again, and the figures, they are moving the best that I have personally ever seen them. I was very, very impressed. It's not known if any of these animatronics got new upgrades to the newer servo motors instead of the hydraulics. It's quite possible many of the hydraulics, the old animatronics, they simply got much needed tune-ups. Whatever the case may be, this is one of those refurbishments where a lot of the partially broken pieces of this complex watch got wound back up again and working again, rather than this being one of those refurbishments where when it comes back we see lots of flashy new theming elements or new narrations or anything like that. You might recall heading into 2020, 5 years ago, we were anticipating a huge thematic update to the attraction, which was later shelved. This update that we just got was not to realize any of those originally planned updates, and some fans of this attraction say that's a good thing, that Spaceship Earth is still free of any Moana tie-ins, and they prefer this version until Imagineering comes up with a better idea. One bonus story for those of you who stuck through this report, thank you so much, by the way. We are not counting this one as a full news story here because the news is we aren't sure yet. I want to place this on your radar. The Wonders of Life Pavilion at EPCOT, this abandoned pavilion that is very near and dear to my heart and many other fans online, we have been suspecting that something is up with it as of late. The rumblings are originating from cast members who claim that they've spotted construction workers at the building heading in and out, likely just surveying it for something, going in, seeing what's going on, seeing what they're going to do next, but we don't know what for just yet. I've been asking around and nobody seems to know. The recent history with the Wonders of Life is, as you recall, it was supposed to become the Play Pavilion, this interactive Play Pavilion meet and greet with interactive experiences as part of the EPCOT overhaul, and that project was put on pause, shelved, and then canceled over the course of the events of 2020 and onwards. Since the crews were sent home from working on the partially assembled Play Pavilion retheming in March of 2020, the building has been sitting as an abandoned construction site, with framing for the Play Pavilion facades just sitting there and construction vehicles just sitting around, sets in mid-assembly. It's pretty weird to see. And since then, there have been photos that have leaked online. Some accounts have leaked online photos of the inside on social media, giving you an idea of what it has looked like this entire decade thus far. It's just been sitting like this, but over the past couple of months, we've been hearing rumblings about activity going on inside. What we do know for certain is one roadblock that this pavilion has been facing in recent years is the dome, making the dome waterproof. The original tiles, they were leaking when Balfour Beatty was contracted to upgrade it to the Play Pavilion back in 2020. The show buildings going out the back of the dome there, they were also leaking as well, I believe, and the contractors successfully redid the roof on those back show buildings, which are a more conventional roof style, of course. But when it came to the dome, what they did is they took away the original tiles that you had on the dome there, the metal ones, and they applied some sort of new vinyl, aluminum, something like that, a membrane that was going to replace the tiles and reseal the dome for years and years to come. And the rumor has been that that replacement failed. So even before the Play Pavilion project was canceled, it was already something that had to be added to the project, where they were going to have to redo the dome twice, the ceiling of the dome, trying to get it so it's not leaking water. To me, that seems like a pretty easy issue for Disney to surmount if they just throw a little bit more money at that roof, because the Wonders of Life dome, it definitely still has life in it. There's definitely still something they could do with it. Think about in the Guardians of the Galaxy queue, you have that room where there are projectors pointing up in the middle there. Well, if you look at the Wonders of Life, the way it's laid out, it's already just a larger version of that. You could do an even more immersive, larger dome. The dome already exists. You just have to put that projection rig in the middle there. You can make something so immersive and so cool that for once isn't a roller coaster or a trackless dark ride. Something else. An issue that we have continued to run into the entire time that I've been covering Walt Disney World extensively, the news of it since 2015, is the fact that Disney seems to not know what to do with more confined spaces where it's supposed to be an attraction. You know, if you look at the Beacon Barrel, for example, that is a confined space where they themed it really well. But of course, the main feature of that is that it is a restaurant, it is a bar. When it comes to stuff that is supposed to be entertainment, an attraction, it seems like Disney just wants to put a giant rectangle up every time, a huge building, contract Vekoma to manufacture a coaster to put inside of it, or they go to Oceaneering, which makes these trackless ride vehicles, and they theme something around that. And as a result, we have abandoned spaces. You know, Jeff Volley's talking about underutilized areas at Walt Disney World. What about Stitch's Great Escape at the Magic Kingdom? You go into Tomorrowland, and for a decade now, there is nothing over there on the left-hand side. So I really feel like in the case of the Cranium Command Theater and the former Body Wars area, they have to figure out how to utilize spaces that are that side without just simply condemning them, you know, just getting rid of them, demolishing them, and putting up some giant show building for a singular attraction. These spaces like Stitch and Cranium Command and Body Wars, there has to be a way that Imagineering figures out how to utilize those smaller areas for a really entertaining experience. Just some thoughts there. What comes next for the Wonders of Life? I have no idea. I pray for anything but a demolition because this space has so much potential. So hopefully whatever activity is happening inside is a promising sign to bring new life to Epcot's famous Life and Health Pavilion. A very mysterious development for you there. Could be something, could be nothing. We try to stay on top of what's coming next, and this is one that is so early, I just don't know for certain quite yet what exactly is going on here, but when I do, I will bring it to you here. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe with those notifications on to stay up to date with everything happening at Walt Disney World. You can find out how to support us over at mickeyviews.com/support. Shout out to our patrons for helping make this video possible. Thank you so much for watching. From the Mickey Views Magic Studio, this is Brayden. Have a magical day.